Late shift on Blackwood Road. I used to think truck drivers exaggerated their stories just to stay awake on long hauls. Ghost hitchhikers, phantom towns, voices on dead radio channels. After what happened to me last winter, I don't laugh at those stories anymore. My name's Daniel Reeves. I'm 34, and I drive overnight freight routes across the Midwest, mostly Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania. The money's decent, if you don't mind loneliness and caffeine poisoning. I actually like the quiet. Just me, the road, and the sound of tires humming at 70 miles an hour. The route that changed everything started on December 14th. I was hauling medical supplies from Columbus to Pittsburgh during one of the worst snowstorms of the year. Visibility was garbage. The kind of night where the world outside your headlights doesn't exist. Around 1:30 a.m., traffic completely disappeared. No cars, no taillights, nothing. That's when my GPS started glitching. The screen flickered black for a second, then rerouted me off the interstate onto a narrow road called Blackwood Road. I figured there'd been an accident ahead. It happens. I followed the directions. Big mistake. The road cut through dense forest with no streetlights for miles. Snow buried everything. The trees looked dead, twisted like claws reaching over the road. My radio started spitting static, even though I had satellite connection. Then I saw the girl. She stood on the shoulder wearing a thin yellow raincoat, maybe 16 or 17 years old. No gloves, no hat, just standing there in the snow with her head lowered. I slammed the brakes. Every instinct told me to keep driving, but I have a younger sister. Leaving some kid alone out there in freezing weather didn't sit right with me. I rolled down the passenger window. "Hey, you okay?" She slowly looked up. I wish she hadn't. Her face was pale gray, lips almost blue, eyes too dark to reflect the headlights. But she looked scared more than anything else did. "Please," she whispered. "He's coming." I unlocked the passenger door immediately. The second she climbed in, the temperature inside the cab dropped hard. I'm talking visible breath cold. She smelled like wet dirt and old water. "You got parents nearby?" I asked. No answer.
She just stared through the windshield. A few miles later, I noticed something strange in my mirrors. Headlights, far behind us. At first I thought it was another truck, but they stayed the exact same distance back no matter how fast I drove. Then my CB radio crackled. "You shouldn't have stopped." The voice sounded distorted, deep and wet, like someone speaking underwater. I grabbed the mic. "Who is this?" Static. Then the girl beside me quietly said, "Don't let him catch me again." Again. That word hit me wrong. I looked over at her hands. Her fingernails were torn and bloody, like she'd been clawing at something. That's when I noticed the rope marks around her wrists. I reached for my phone to call 911, but there was no signal, not even one bar. The headlights behind us suddenly got closer. Fast. Too fast. A black pickup truck appeared inches from my trailer, riding my bumper. Its headlights were so bright I couldn't see inside the cab. Then it swerved beside me. The driver looked directly at me. I nearly wrecked. His face was swollen and white, skin hanging loose like wet paper. One eye was completely missing, and he was smiling. The girl started crying beside me. He found me. The pickup rammed the side of my trailer. Hard. My entire rig fishtailed across the icy road. I fought the wheel while the truck hit us again. The driver kept grinning the entire time. Then the girl screamed. Not screamed like she was scared. Screamed like she was in pain. I looked over and saw water pouring from her mouth. Dark river water. Her skin began turning black around the eyes. The CB radio exploded with static. "You gave her a ride," the voice laughed. "Now she comes with you." The pickup slammed into us one final time. My trailer jackknifed. Everything rolled.
Metal screamed, glass shattered, then darkness. When I woke up, morning sunlight was coming through the broken windshield. My truck was lying on its side in a ditch. Police and paramedics surrounded the wreck. One officer told me I was lucky to be alive. I asked about the girl. They looked confused. There was nobody else in the cab, he said. I tried explaining about the pickup truck, too. The officer's expression changed instantly. Then he asked me something strange. Did the girl wear a yellow raincoat? My stomach dropped. He told me Blackwood Road had a history. 7 years earlier, a local teenager named Emily Carter disappeared during a snowstorm after leaving her part-time job. Witnesses said she'd last been seen getting into a black pickup truck. Her body was eventually pulled from the river 3 months later. The suspect was never caught. I asked about the truck that hit me. The officer went silent for a second. Then he said there were no tire tracks behind my trailer. No evidence another vehicle had ever been there. But that wasn't the worst part. When they recovered the dashcam footage from my truck, the passenger seat appeared empty the entire night.
He asked me something strange. Did the girl wear a yellow raincoat? My stomach dropped. He told me Blackwood Road had a history. 7 years earlier, a local teenager named Emily Carter disappeared during a snowstorm after leaving her part-time job. Witnesses said she'd last been seen getting into a black pickup truck. Her body was eventually pulled from the river 3 months later. The suspect was never caught. I asked about the truck that hit me. The officer went silent for a second. Then he said there were no tire tracks behind my trailer. No evidence another vehicle had ever been there. But that wasn't the worst part. When they recovered the dashcam footage from my truck, the passenger seat appeared empty the entire night, except for one frame. At exactly 2:13 a.m., the camera glitched, and for less than a second, Emily was sitting beside me, staring directly into the lens, smiling. They ruled the crash an accident caused by ice. I quit trucking 2 weeks later. But sometimes, late at night, my old CB radio turns on by itself in my garage. Static fills the speaker. Then a young girl's voice whispers, "Thank you for stopping."